As part of the 4-day funeral rites for the late J.J Rawlings, several dignitaries, including President Akufo-Addo and his wife, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia and his wife, Samira Bawumia, former Presidents John Ejekun Kufuor and John Mahama with his wife, took their turn at the fallen past of the body of late J.J Rawlings at the Accra International Conference Center. The Chief of Staff, Akosua Fremo Pare, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagwen, including the members of the House, also paid their last respects to J.J Rawlings. A former Speaker of Parliament and some MPs shared fond memories of the late President with the media.
The concept of the Office of Special Prosecutor was introduced by President Rawlings during the PNDC time. And I was once on secondment from the Attorney General's Department as Assistant Special Prosecutor in charge of the Bronx-Ahafo region. Right. It was President Rawlings who built the capacity for us, which made us establish the serious road office at his time. He walked the talk. When he talked about probity and accountability, he walked the talk. And how many properties have we seen about him? Can you see? Can you say about him? How many foreign accounts has the man got?
President Rawlings exacted the highest punishment for corruption. Yet corruption is still part of our national public life. We need to work to minimize, if not eliminate, corruption in our body politic. And there must be political will and political courage to fight economic crime, graft, and corruption.
All that I will say is that we should look at the good things that he did and learn from him. We all know that he was a champion of probity, accountability, and all. You know, I will not even ask Ghanaians to delve into it, whether he himself live it or not. But let us all learn from that carrion call that in our nation we should promote transparency.
When one looks at the time at which he entered the politics of this country, I can conclude that he was God sent. Because I remember very well, prior to his coming to the scene, the economic hardship, the social injustice, all the vices that were going on in this country, we were praying for God to give us a deliverer. And when the voice of J.J. came onto the scene, most Ghanaians believe that God has given us a deliverer. And he brought us ideals and standards.
I would always remember him as a man who stood for principle, a man of integrity, probity, and accountability. He is one of the few military rulers that Africa had who you will not find a foreign bank account that he's touched Ghana's resources out in Switzerland or in France, as you have seen many of his contemporary military rulers do. He is one African leader who refused to promote himself when he became head of state. A lot of his colleagues did that. They suddenly became generals and what have you.
The Chief Justice, former Chief Justices of the Supreme Court, Justices and former Justices of the Apex Court were also at the conference center to eulogize the late Rawlings.
Contrary to, the kind of fear people had about him, was so friendly and down to earth. I was amazed. I didn't know he was such a simple, down to earth person. He spent 5 hours trying to persuade me to accept that appointment. Well, the rest is history. It wasn't his fault, but later on, under his administration, I was appointed to the Supreme Court.
The vice presidential candidate of the NDC in the 2020 polls, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajaman, the 2020 campaign manager for the NDC, Professor Joshua Alabi, and former MP for Ningo Pram Pram, E.T. Mensah, also eulogized the late former president.
I found him to be very intelligent, very smart, very astute, sensitive, and what I appreciated along all of this was that he was able to think on his feet, and I really appreciated that. What will stick with me will be his dedication to his values, and sometimes, if not most of the time, his uncompromising stance. And definitely, when you believe in what you are doing, you don't compromise it. If you believe justice should be dispensed to everybody regardless, then at what point do you compromise that? And I really like that about him, so that you think through what it is that you stand for, and you are able to sustain that regardless.
His strictness, when it comes to going to cabinet meeting, you have to be there early, and all meetings you have to be there on time, and nobody was restricted from expressing his or her views on issues which were tabled for discussion. And beyond that, when it comes to their work, he has been the man on the job. I remember the first position that I had was Mayor of Accra. And when we stepped in the office to realize that Accra was in the real mess, those who knew what Accra was, we counted over 758 huge mounds of refuse dotted all over the city. And that was when we also noticed that Accra that you see today was quite funny, because we had only 2 traffic lights in Accra. Quite often we talk about first light, and people didn't know how it came about. It was the very first street lights around Kandishi. And the second one was UTC, where we have the Rawlings Park today.
Virtually every policy that we are running today emanated from his original policies of rural development, getting this country on the export front, on the investment front, on the infrastructural development. I mean, everything that is going on here. And we just have to keep showing his legacy through the video, the film that we have, so the current generation, the future generation will see what he did for this country, as a result of which we are today mourning the death of such a great man.
Members of the diplomatic corps and heads and former heads of constitutional bodies were also present. The 1966 to 1967 year group of the Old Achimotans Association, of which the late president was a member, also shared fond memories of him after falling past his body.
Today we mourn a very special colleague. You all know that, special. And Achimota is special, but he's made us special. Murino called himself the special one. This one is the extra special one, the exo special one, who, in our view, embodied all the qualities of the school. Individualism, discipline, professional, religious, believe me, religious, a good Catholic, who devoted all his life to public service. Achimota School was set up to train professionals, people who will serve this country, and many have served this country. But Jerry served the country to the highest.
In a rather dramatic scene, a woman who claimed to be a daughter of the late former President Rawlings was prevented by the security from entering the premises. She was not the only person to experience this, as some members of the public were also denied entry.
We pay the last respect to our father, and they give us time out to 12 o'clock. Now it's 1 o'clock, still we are here. So they are stopping us to enter.
This morning I come here, I want to see before and go. So this time the crowd is too much, so I don't go feel go inside because of the security. If taking the people that no go enter that inside. So that I don't know what is going on.
On Wednesday, the body of the late President J.J Rawlings will be moved from the Accra International Conference Center to the Black Star Square for burial service. This forms part of the 4-day final funeral rite for the first president of the Fourth Republic who served Ghana from the year 1981 to 2001 under both democratic and military regimes. Reporting from the Accra International Conference Center, my name is Ni Ayukwe Okai.